Hi guys, how's it going? I hope you've had a great week and welcome back. In today's video, I have some updates on my jaw and my wrist. Believe it or not, it has now been 18 weeks since my jaw surgery and it's been 4 weeks since my wrist surgery. So I will get to those updates. And then I also wanted to sort of carry on this theme from the last couple of videos where I've been talking about some of the changes I've made to my lifestyle or to things that I'm doing that will help me to heal and recover from some of these long-term health issues, fatigue, hormonal disruptions. And I wanted to touch on a couple of additional things that I have implemented into my everyday life that each one on its own might not seem like it would have that big of an effect on my health, but I feel like these things all together over time will have sort of a cumulative effect on giving my body a better chance to heal and recover. And really all of these things are things that I have implemented to try to kind of reduce my exposure to any environmental toxins or chemicals or just things that we are exposed to on a daily basis that could potentially kind of slow down my body's ability to function optimally or just make it harder for me to keep recovering and moving forward. So I will get to those things, but first let's do a quick update on my jaw and my wrist. Like I said, it has been 18 weeks now since I've had my jaw surgery. I kind of can't believe that much time has passed, but I have noticed a few new things in the past couple of weeks. One of which is that now when I bite down, both sides, my molars touch on both sides. That was not the case up until a couple of weeks ago. So especially like right after surgery or kind of throughout those first couple of months, I could sort of touch down on my right side or occlude with my molars on the right side, but it felt tighter on the left, or it just like I had to kind of like really clamp down in order to have my teeth touch on the left. And over the past week or two, I've noticed now that like when I'm eating or just like at rest, I can very easily touch on both sides. It could also be that these new rubber bands that I'm wearing, I have been wearing since I saw my orthodontist a couple of weeks ago, that my teeth are starting to shift a little bit and getting into better position so that everything is lining up a little bit better. But I just thought that was kind of interesting and hopefully a good sign that things are progressing there. I also had my first dental cleaning appointment this past week. So this is the first time that I went in for a cleaning since my surgery. I definitely needed it, especially considering that those first few weeks after surgery, it was really hard to brush my teeth very well. I was a little nervous that it would be hard to open my mouth wide enough for them to do the cleaning or that I might get like some jaw fatigue, but that really was not a big issue. Everything seemed to go pretty well. We are going to wait a little bit longer to do the root canal on my front tooth that is still discolored, just because it is harder for me to open my mouth super wide or to really hold it wide open for a long time. And since for that procedure, I will have to keep my mouth open a little wider for longer periods of time, we're just going to kind of wait to give everything a little bit more time to heal and hopefully make that process a little more comfortable. I did also notice during the cleaning that my upper teeth, like the back side of my upper teeth and kind of my upper palate is still pretty numb, or I just don't have a lot of feeling there. I could feel everything else that they were working on, but that area, it just like, I could tell that they were doing stuff there, but I didn't have a lot of feeling. So I guess that's still just going to take some more time for those nerves to regenerate. And also on my lower lip and chin, I definitely have a lot more feeling back. It feels much more normal on the sides. In the center, it's still a little sensitive, a little bit tingly. And like my lower teeth, the gums and stuff are still a little sensitive there, but it definitely has gotten better over the last couple of weeks. And again, I guess that's just going to be an area that's going to take longer to completely heal. And one other thing I've noticed that's kind of interesting that I think might relate to some of the residual swelling that I have is that when I go to do the red light therapy, I'm basically laying down in kind of like a tanning bed. It's definitely not a tanning bed in terms of the light therapy, but I do wear little goggles over my eyes. They're just like those very lightweight, like rubber goggles that kind of rest on your eyes. But whenever I take them off, when I get out of the red light therapy, I have pretty deep grooves under my eyes from where the goggles were sitting. I'm thinking that just means that I still have some inflammation up through here, and that's why I get such big marks on my eyes. But I guess I'll just have to keep an eye on that over time, see if that starts to go away, and maybe that will be a sign that the residual swelling is going down. It has also been 4 weeks now since I had my wrist surgery. My wrist is doing a lot better. As you can see, it looks a lot more normal. My incision looks a lot better. Everything is less swollen and less bruised. I have much better range of motion and mobility, and I can actually start lifting some weights with it, just as long as I'm not doing anything too heavy. It still is kind of sore, and like I can't bend it super far or like put a lot of weight on it yet, but it's definitely getting a lot better. And when I had my last physical therapy appointment, they said everything was progressing as it should be. So I'm really hoping that over the next couple of weeks that we'll start to get closer to normal and we'll just continue to make good progress. Okay, so now that we got the jaw and wrist updates out of the way, I am going to talk about a few additional things that I have changed in my lifestyle, or really kind of in my environment, to try to help with this healing process, to kind of lessen the burden on my body as it's trying to heal, and kind of just lower any kind of like environmental stressors. As I've learned more about just the things that we come into contact with every day, whether it's like in the air, in the products that we use, in water, and knowing that there's just a lot of like chemicals and sort of toxic substances that can be getting into our bodies. Of course, our bodies have natural detoxification systems, and for the most part can handle a lot of this stuff. But I think knowing that my body is a little bit under some stress or a little bit compromised in terms of like hormonal production and maybe some other things that are maybe making it harder for my body to handle some of these things. If I can reduce my exposure as much as possible, I just want to try to do everything I can to help my body be able to keep recovering and healing. So I have implemented several things. Really started doing some of these things right away when I started working with my naturopathic doctor many years ago. And a lot of them are really just like one-time changes that I made that then I haven't really had to think about anymore, but that I think, again, over time will have a cumulative effect on how my body is able to function. So the first thing that I did was to start using personal care products that were more natural, had fewer chemicals, or just avoiding certain ingredients that could potentially be harmful to humans. One of the great resources that I've used to help me in this process is the Environmental Working Group website, which is ewg.org. They have a huge database of products that you can search through, and they grade them on a scale of A to F, so you can see what the ingredients are, why they might be things you want to avoid, things that can cause like allergies or sensitivities or be potential hormone disruptors. These things are in a lot of the products that we like put on our skin or put in our bodies every day, and it's not very well regulated. So as I started to learn more about what was in some of the things that I was using, I've been trying to swap out those for more natural alternatives or just things that are using less of these harmful chemicals. So everything from like toothpaste, shampoo, face wash, sunscreen. I mean, in particular, anything that I'm putting on my skin that is going to be really like coming into contact with my body. Just making sure that these products that I'm using every day or maybe more than once a day, like really consistently, that I'm not using anything that could be disruptive to my system or could be making it harder for my body to function well. So I've really just kind of pared down the products that I use, try to find things that I like and that are that work well for me, but that are not using certain chemicals or substances and just as natural as possible. This is really just a personal preference. These are things that I feel like I would like to avoid or feel better knowing that I'm avoiding them. I don't think that it's something that like everybody has to do. I think everybody has to determine for themselves what they want to use or what they feel comfortable with. But I do highly recommend checking out the Environmental Working Group website just to learn more about what is in some of these products or like what you might want to avoid for certain reasons, especially if you do have any like allergies or health issues. It's really kind of interesting to find out more about that. And it's pretty easy to swap out some of the things that you might be using every day and find some alternatives that can just be healthier for you and really healthier for the planet too. So kind of a win-win situation. But again, it's going to be personal preference for everybody what they want to use or how much effort they want to put into this, but it's just something that I felt like I could do and would make me feel better about what I'm putting on my body every day. Along those same lines, I've also swapped out a lot of the cleaning products or household products that I use to find things that again, have fewer chemicals or ingredients that could potentially be harmful both to me and to the environment, and just trying to find things that are really simple and non-toxic. So I really use a lot of like baking soda and vinegar, honestly. And again, using the Environmental Working Group website, they have another database of household products and cleaning products. So you can find everything from like laundry detergent to soap or dishwashing detergent, all of the products that you might use in your home, and see what might be a better alternative or what kind of scores they get, and where you can maybe make some changes just to make it more friendly both to yourself and your body and to the environment as a whole. The third thing that I did a while back was to get an air purifier. I did actually have the air in my condo tested a long time ago, and there's a local company here that does air quality testing, and they measure like the amount of particulate matter in your air, and you want it to be below a certain number. Mine was way higher than that, so I did want to try to reduce the amount of particles in my air and things that could, again, potentially cause allergies or just kind of be a burden on my system. And so I got an air purifier. I just keep it in my bedroom and run it all the time. It's, again, something that was just like a one-time thing that I implemented. I don't really have to think about it that much, but it really gives me peace of mind to know that my air quality is good. I spend a lot of time at home, and obviously like sleeping in my bedroom where I have this air purifier, knowing that I am breathing in good quality air. I think can be a really nice thing to have for overall health. And it's just kind of nice to know that I have reduced my exposure to anything that potentially could be harmful in my air, or knowing that I have improved my air quality. Again, this is maybe not something that on its own is going to make like a huge difference to my overall health. And depending on where you are, you might have really good air quality, or where you live, it's going to probably vary a lot. But I think also since the pandemic, there have been a ton of new air purifiers that are out on the market. And there's a lot of ones that are like small and portable or relatively inexpensive that you can get if it's something that you think might be an issue in your area, or if you have a lot of allergies or anything like that. Could definitely be something to look into to improve your air quality. I also looked into the water quality in my area, and this is yet another resource you can find on the Environmental Working Group website. You can actually look up the tap water in your area and what kind of testing has been done, or like what kind of toxic substances or chemicals might be in your water. I found that the water in my area had some things in it that I would like to avoid, so I did get a water purifier as well. Since water obviously is really important to stay hydrated, and something that I'm putting in my body daily, if there's certain substances in my water that could be harmful to me, I don't want to be doing that on a regular basis. So having this water purifier, I feel like has been really helpful. Again, just makes me feel like I am doing something that is going to help my overall health. And anytime I am drinking water or like making tea or cooking food in water, I just use this purified water so that I can know that I am not ingesting or putting anything into my body that might be harmful over time. And just like with the air quality, your tap water or the water in your area could be really, really good. I just noticed that there were certain things that I wanted to avoid in my water here. So I felt like getting a water purifier was a really good solution for me to just feel better about the water that I'm drinking every day. And the last thing, which is something that is a little bit harder for me to do, and I'm definitely not 100% on this, but I have tried to reduce the amount of plastic that I use, particularly around food. So obviously a lot of things you buy at the grocery store is going to come packaged in plastic. It's not something I can completely avoid or that I feel like I have to do all the time. But in areas where it's relatively easy for me to like store food in glass containers, I have a lot of glass containers, or I keep old glass jars and reuse them to store food. I use reusable silicone bags instead of plastic bags. I try to avoid like plastic wrap, or especially like heating anything up in plastic, or plastic water bottles, where that can really kind of start to leach into the food or the water. So again, it's just something that I felt like for the most part, I can pretty easily avoid in certain areas. It's not something that I do all the time, and I'm not religious about it. It's just something that I've been trying to do over time, just reduce the amount of plastic that I have in my life. So those are 5 additional things that I have changed or been trying to implement into my life to just give my body, again, more of a chance to heal and recover, just to reduce some of the overall burden on it as I am trying to feel better and function better. So using different personal care products that have fewer chemicals or avoiding certain ingredients, swapping out my household cleaning products to find really eco-friendly and non-toxic options, using an air purifier and a water filter to just reduce any environmental exposures that I might be getting there, and then just trying to reduce the amount of plastic that I'm using, both for my own health and for the health of the planet. Those are additional things that I have done on this health journey. If you have any questions about any of these things, any of the products that I'm using or talking about, I will link to some of them in the description box below. But if you have any other questions or comments, definitely leave those. I'm happy to answer any questions here. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. It really does help other people find these videos, and I really appreciate it. You can also subscribe to my channel down below if you would like. As always, I really appreciate the support and that you guys have continued with me on this journey. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time with another update.